What if the biggest victory in Hudson and Rex history didn't happen inside the show, but outside of it? For months, fans believed Charlie Hudson's story was over. A new detective had taken his place, Rex had a new partner, and it looked like the series was moving on without the man who had defined it from the very beginning. But something incredible happened. Fans refused to accept that ending. They fought back. They made their voices impossible to ignore. And now the impossible has become reality. Charlie Hudson is officially returning for Season 9. But after everything that's happened, can the show truly put the pieces back together? And is this comeback really the fresh start fans have been waiting for? Or is an even bigger surprise still waiting around the corner? Let's break down everything we know. For 7 unforgettable seasons, Hudson and Rex built its identity around one simple but powerful partnership. Charlie Hudson and Rex weren't just another detective team solving crimes every week. Their friendship became the heart of the series. While every episode featured a new mystery, it was the trust, loyalty, and connection between Charlie and Rex that kept fans coming back season after season. Whether they were chasing dangerous criminals through the streets of St. John's or quietly sharing emotional moments after closing a difficult case, viewers believed in this partnership because it felt genuine. That emotional connection became the show's greatest strength, and over time it transformed Hudson and Rex into one of the most successful international crime dramas, reaching audiences in more than 100 countries. But everything changed during Season 7. Fans quickly noticed Charlie wasn't appearing as often as before. Instead of leading investigations alongside Rex every week, he was suddenly absent from many episodes. Whenever he did appear, it was usually through phone calls from South America, where the story explained he was searching for his missing brother. Inside the show's universe, the explanation seemed reasonable enough. However, longtime viewers could tell something else was happening behind the scenes. Charlie's reduced role didn't feel like a creative storytelling decision. It felt like the production was quietly preparing viewers for something much bigger. The truth was far more personal than anyone realized. Actor John Reardon had stepped away from filming while undergoing treatment for tonsil cancer. Rather than making headlines or asking for public sympathy, he chose to keep his health battle private. He focused on recovery while allowing the production to continue. Many fans didn't even know the real reason for his absence until much later. Looking back now, that decision earned even more respect because it showed just how committed he was to both his family and the series he had helped build over 7 successful seasons. Naturally, fans expected that once he recovered, Charlie Hudson would simply return to the role that had become synonymous with the show. After all, his temporary absence had been explained within the story. Everything appeared perfectly set up for an emotional reunion between Charlie and Rex. Instead, viewers were shocked when Season 8 premiered with a completely different direction. Charlie was gone. Rex had a brand new detective partner, Mark Hudson, and the story moved forward as though the previous 7 seasons had already become history. The surprise quickly turned into confusion. There wasn't a heartfelt farewell. There wasn't a dramatic final goodbye. There wasn't even the emotional reunion many viewers had been waiting for. Instead, audiences were introduced to a completely new lead character, and they were expected to immediately accept this major change. For many longtime fans, it wasn't simply about replacing one actor with another. It felt like the emotional foundation of the show had suddenly disappeared. Then came the moment that completely changed the conversation. John Reardon publicly confirmed that leaving the series had never been his decision. After successfully recovering and receiving medical clearance to work again, he was ready to return. But according to his own statement, the production had already chosen to move in a different direction. That revelation instantly shifted public opinion. Instead of seeing Charlie's departure as a creative choice, fans now viewed it as a heartbreaking situation involving an actor who had overcome a difficult personal battle only to discover that his place on the show had already been filled. The reaction was immediate. Social media exploded with support for John Reardon. Fans flooded comment sections demanding answers. Online petitions gathered signatures from viewers around the world. Some supporters even organized public campaigns calling for Charlie Hudson's return. It became one of the rare moments where a television audience united behind a single goal with remarkable determination. They weren't asking for a reboot. They weren't demanding a new storyline. They simply wanted the partnership that had made them fall in love with the series in the first place. At first, many believed the network would stand by its decision. Television history is filled with major casting changes that networks refused to reverse, even when fans strongly disagreed. Once a new direction begins, productions usually continue forward rather than admitting they may have made the wrong choice. That is exactly why so many people assume Charlie Hudson's story had officially ended. But this time, something happened that almost never happens in television. The growing fan support didn't fade away after a few weeks. It became louder, it became stronger, and eventually, the people behind Hudson and Rex could no longer ignore it. Then came the announcement fans had been dreaming about for months. John Reardon was officially returning as Charlie Hudson for Season 9. The announcement spread across entertainment news almost instantly, sending excitement through the entire fan community. After everything that had happened, Charlie Hudson was finally coming home. Yet one enormous question still remained unanswered. Bringing Charlie back is one thing. Explaining how he returns after everything Season 8 established is something else entirely. And judging by the first official story details, Season 9 isn't planning to make that reunion easy. Instead, it may be setting up the most emotional chapter the series has ever attempted. Now that Charlie Hudson's return has been officially confirmed, the biggest mystery isn't if he's coming back. The real mystery is what kind of world he's returning to. Because while fans celebrated the announcement, the story itself has become much more complicated than simply reopening the office door and handing Charlie back his badge. When Charlie left St. John's, he wasn't taking a vacation. According to the storyline, he had traveled to South America in search of his missing brother. It was a dangerous mission filled with unanswered questions, and the series intentionally left that chapter unfinished. Instead of giving viewers a clear ending, the writers created an open door that could eventually bring Charlie home. At the time, many people thought it was simply a temporary explanation for his absence, but now it appears that unfinished mission may become one of Season 9's biggest storylines. Early details suggest Charlie's return won't be a peaceful homecoming. Instead, he arrives carrying unfinished business connected to the nightmare he left behind. That alone changes everything. Rather than pretending nothing happened during his absence, the new season seems prepared to acknowledge that Charlie has been through experiences that have changed him. The detective returning to St. John's may not be exactly the same man who left. That immediately creates another important question. What about Rex? For 7 seasons, Rex and Charlie shared an unbreakable bond. Their teamwork became legendary among fans because neither one ever needed to say much to understand the other. A single look was enough. They trusted each other with their lives countless times. But during Season 8, Rex spent an entire season working beside Detective Mark Hudson. Together they solved cases, faced dangerous criminals, and built their own working relationship. Dogs are incredibly loyal, but loyalty doesn't erase time. Rex has now experienced 2 very different partners, so when Charlie finally walks back into the department, viewers shouldn't expect everything to instantly return to normal. In fact, watching Rex react may become one of the most emotional moments of the entire season. Will he immediately run back to Charlie without hesitation? Or will there be a brief moment of uncertainty after everything that's happened? That emotional conflict could become one of the strongest scenes the series has ever delivered. But Rex isn't the only one whose life changed. Inside the police department, everyone has learned to operate without Charlie. His colleagues found new routines, new partnerships were formed, responsibilities shifted. The department adapted because they believed Charlie wasn't coming back. Now those changes will be challenged all over again, and standing right in the middle of that challenge is Detective Mark Hudson. Mark entered the story under incredibly difficult circumstances. Replacing a beloved lead character is never easy, no matter how talented the actor may be. Many viewers admitted that Mark wasn't necessarily the problem. Instead, they struggled with the fact that Charlie had disappeared without proper closure. As a result, Mark became part of a controversy that wasn't really his fault. Season 9 now has an opportunity to turn that difficult situation into compelling drama. Instead of quietly removing Mark from the story, current information suggests he will remain part of the cast. That means both detectives could be working inside the same department at the same time. Suddenly, this isn't just a story about Charlie's return. It's about 2 capable detectives trying to find their place while sharing one police unit and one extraordinary partner named Rex. That setup creates endless possibilities. Will Mark willingly step aside because Charlie has returned, or does he believe he earned his position after carrying the department through Charlie's absence? Neither answer is completely right or completely wrong. That's exactly what makes the situation so interesting. For the first time, Hudson and Rex isn't simply solving weekly crimes. The emotional tension inside the team may become just as important as the investigations themselves. At the same time, Charlie faces another challenge that has nothing to do with Mark. He must reconnect with people whose lives continued moving forward while he was gone. His friends changed, his coworkers changed. Even the city itself may feel different after such a long absence. Returning home after experiencing dangerous events overseas is never simple. Charlie will likely carry emotional scars that cannot disappear overnight. If the writers explore those changes honestly, instead of rushing past them, Season 9 could become one of the deepest seasons the series has ever produced. Production details also suggest the people behind the show understand just how important this comeback really is. Season 9 is once again expected to feature 12 episodes, giving the writers enough time to carefully rebuild Charlie's relationships instead of forcing everything into a single episode. That slower pace is exactly what many longtime fans have been hoping for. Filming has returned to beautiful St. John's, Newfoundland, the location that has always given the series its unique atmosphere. From the beginning, the city's streets, coastline, and neighborhoods have been more than just backgrounds. They've become part of the show's identity. Charlie's return to those familiar places carries emotional meaning because viewers associate them with countless memorable moments from previous seasons. Perhaps even more encouraging is the creative team behind the new season. Many familiar names remain involved in shaping the future of the series, while John Reardon himself once again has a significant role behind the scenes. That involvement gives fans hope that Charlie's comeback won't simply be treated as fan service. Instead, it may become a carefully crafted continuation of the story that respects everything both the characters and the audience have experienced. But despite all this excitement, one enormous question still hangs over Season 9. Bringing Charlie back is only the first step. Can the series truly rebuild the trust that was damaged over the past year? Fans celebrated the announcement because they finally got what they had been asking for. However, expectations are now higher than ever before. After fighting this hard to bring Charlie home, viewers won't be satisfied with an ordinary reunion. They'll be looking for something far more meaningful, a story that proves the wait was worth it. And based on everything revealed so far, the writers know exactly how much is riding on these next 12 episodes. As exciting as Charlie Hudson's return is, Season 9 isn't just carrying the weight of another television premiere, it's carrying the weight of something much bigger. This season has the chance to repair the relationship between Hudson and Rex and the fans who never stopped believing in it. That kind of opportunity doesn't come around often, and everyone involved knows it. The biggest challenge isn't bringing Charlie back. It's making viewers feel that his return truly matters. If Charlie simply walks into the police station and everything immediately goes back to normal, many fans will feel that an important chapter has been ignored. The audience watched an entire season unfold without him. They experienced Rex working beside someone else. They watched relationships change and new routines develop. None of that can simply disappear overnight. Fortunately, the first story details suggest the writers understand this. Instead of pretending the past never happened, Season 9 appears ready to embrace it. Charlie's return is expected to create difficult choices, emotional conversations, and new conflicts inside the department. That approach could transform this comeback from simple fan service into one of the strongest character stories the show has ever told. One of the most fascinating parts of the upcoming season will be watching Charlie himself. During his absence, he wasn't sitting safely behind a desk. He was chasing dangerous leads while searching for his missing brother. Whatever happened during that mission almost certainly changed him. The experiences he faced may have left emotional scars that even Rex cannot immediately heal. For the first time in years, Charlie could return carrying more questions than answers. That opens the door to a much deeper version of the character. Fans have always known Charlie as the calm detective who keeps moving forward no matter how difficult the case becomes. But Season 9 has the opportunity to show another side of him. Perhaps the months away tested his confidence. Perhaps they made him appreciate the people waiting for him back home even more. Or perhaps they reminded him that some battles leave permanent marks, even after they're over. Exploring those emotions would make his comeback feel earned rather than simply nostalgic. At the same time, the relationship between Charlie and Rex could become even stronger than before. Their bond has always been built on trust, not words. That's exactly why their reunion carries so much emotional power. Fans aren't simply waiting to see Charlie again. They're waiting to see Charlie and Rex standing side by side, solving cases the way only they can. That partnership has always been the soul of the series, and bringing it back gives Season 9 something Season 8 could never fully recreate. But another storyline deserves just as much attention. Detective Mark Hudson remains one of the biggest unanswered questions heading into the new season. If both detectives continue working together, viewers may witness an entirely new dynamic unlike anything the show has attempted before. This doesn't have to become a rivalry built on jealousy. Instead, it could become a story about respect, professionalism, and learning to work together despite complicated circumstances. Mark earned his place during Charlie's absence, while Charlie spent years building the department's trust before he ever left. Both men have legitimate reasons to feel they belong. Watching that balance develop could become one of the season's most compelling storylines. Beyond the characters, production itself sends another encouraging signal. The creative team isn't treating Season 9 as just another yearly continuation. The return announcement, the official statements, and the excitement surrounding filming all suggest that everyone understands this season means far more than solving 12 new cases. It's about restoring something that many viewers believed had been lost. Timing also works in the show's favor. With the new season expected to arrive following production in St. John's, anticipation continues to build across the fan community. Every update has been met with excitement because fans finally feel hopeful again. Instead of wondering whether Charlie will ever return, they're now wondering how his story continues. That shift alone has completely changed the conversation surrounding the series. Of course, many questions still remain unanswered. How exactly will Charlie's search for his brother conclude? What consequences will follow him back to Newfoundland? How will Rex react during their first reunion? Can Charlie and Mark successfully work together? And perhaps the biggest question of all, can Hudson and Rex recapture the emotional magic that made millions of viewers fall in love with the series in the first place? Right now, nobody knows those answers. But maybe that's exactly what makes Season 9 feel so exciting. For the first time in a long time, fans aren't simply waiting for another detective story. They're waiting for redemption. They're waiting to see whether the show they supported for years can find its way back to what made it special. That emotional investment is incredibly rare in television, and it proves just how important Charlie Hudson has always been to this series. Whether you're watching for the mysteries, the action, or the unforgettable partnership between a detective and his loyal German Shepherd, one thing is impossible to ignore. Season 9 has already become one of the most talked about chapters in the history of Hudson and Rex, and before a single new case has even been solved, it has already accomplished something remarkable. It has reunited a fan base that never gave up hope. Now the spotlight shifts back to the writers, the cast, and the creative team. They have the opportunity to turn one of television's most unexpected comeback stories into one of its most satisfying seasons. If they embrace the emotional consequences of Charlie's absence, respect the journey every character has taken, and allow the reunion with Rex to unfold naturally, instead of rushing toward an easy ending, Season 9 could become the strongest season the series has ever delivered. After everything that's happened, this isn't simply the return of Charlie Hudson, it's the return of the partnership that defined the show. It's the return fans fought for. And now, all that's left is to see whether this long-awaited comeback becomes the unforgettable new beginning everyone has been hoping for.